Most mornings in Willow Bend are peaceful sunrise stretching over quiet roofs, sprinklers whispering across manicured lawns, and the slow hum of neighbors starting their day. But not this morning. I was sipping coffee on my porch, like usual when I saw her, Cynthia, the self-appointed community standards chairwoman. Pink power walk tracksuit, pearl earrings, and sunglasses that probably cost more than my lawnmower. She strutted across my grass like she was walking a red carpet. Heel! 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 Digging into the damp soil I had watered at 6 a.m. sharp. Her manicured dog pranced behind her, and right before stepping off my lawn, it lifted its leg on my hydrangeas like they insulted its mother. "Good morning, Mark," she called sweetly, not even looking at me. Lovely grass, so soft underfoot. She smirked. She knew I hated it. I moved here for peace, retired early after 2 decades designing bridges, hoping to spend my days gardening, drinking good coffee, and forgetting city stress. My lawn became my sanctuary, my quiet prize. But peace can't exist where ego roams free. At first, I thought she was cutting across by accident, 1 footprint near the mailbox. Then 2, then a path. Not just walked, but claimed carved diagonally by her heels, like she was marking her territory. Every morning between 7:20 and 7:35, like clockwork, a private runway across my lawn. I asked politely the first time. "Cynthia," I said, stepping outside, "can you please use the sidewalk instead?" She paused, gave me that politician's smile, and tilted her sunglasses down like she was about to deliver a TED Talk on superiority. "Oh," Mark shikued, "community easement rules, state residents may traverse common visual spaces." "That's not a thing," I said flatly. "It is now," she replied, lifting her chin, and just like that, she sashayed away, dog trotting triumphantly behind her. That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with a neighbor. I was dealing with a suburban tyrant in running shoes. Soon enough, she started bragging in the neighborhood Facebook group. Some residents don't understand community unity and natural walk flow. Natural walk flow. Lady, you're not migrating wildebeest. You're just lazy. I filed a complaint with the They ignored me. So I put a sign, "Private lawn, do not cross." Next morning, Gone, replaced with a printed stake sign. Community walkway HOA approved. That wasn't just disrespect. That was a declaration of war. So I installed cameras. Good ones, hidden among my rose bushes and porch planters, quiet, patient, and high-resolution enough to count the dog's eyelashes. And sure enough, there she was every morning, strutting like she owned the soil under her feet, sometimes waving at the camera, sometimes rolling her eyes. Once, I swear, she saluted like a general reviewing troops. A normal person would feel shame. Cynthia thrived on the attention. One morning I confronted her again with video proof ready on my phone. "Cynthia, this needs to stop." She didn't even pause. "You can't police nature, Mark," she replied without breaking stride. Nature. Her perfume smelled like a department store exploded. The only natural thing about her was her ability to spread chaos. It wasn't about grass anymore. It was about control, power, ego. She thought she owned this neighborhood. I decided it was time she learned something quietly, methodically, and with the precision only a retired engineer with too much time and a grudge can manage. Because some battles aren't fought with fists or words. Some are fought with math, patience, and irrigation systems. And soon, Cynthia would discover that a lawn has 2 things: boundaries and consequences. She thought she could walk wherever she wanted. But the next morning, my sprinklers woke up before she did, and they weren't feeling friendly. The next morning, I woke up like a man preparing for a duel, not with swords, not with guns, but with plumbing, patience, and petty determination. Coffee in hand, I checked the time. Las 7:18 a.m. 2 minutes until Cynthia's morning royal parade across my grass. I wasn't nervous. Primera was excited like a kid who wired the teacher's desk drawer to glitter bomb open. Except my glitter was water And physics. See, Cynthia didn't know something important. I used to design public fountains for city plazas. Water pressure, timing, angles. That was my domain. And yesterday, I turned my front yard into a hydrodynamic masterpiece. Layered sprinkler zones. Angled heads, pressure triggered by motion sensor. In simple terms, anyone stepping on my grass would get soaked like a lab rat in a water maze experiment. Las 7:19. I opened the blinds just enough to witness history. And there she came, Cynthia Whitaker, in neon pink leggings today. Matching visor, and that determined power walk posture like she was training for a suburban Olympics event nobody else applied for. Her dog pranced like a fluffy lieutenant. She didn't look left, didn't look right. Why would she? She had declared dominion over this kingdom. Heel onto grass. "Sir!" Beep! A jet of water shot up from the lawn like a geyser greeting her ankles. She shrieked, stumbled backward, and landed right on her pastel yoga mat backside. The dog spun in shock, leash flying from her hand like a whipcord. She scrambled up, soaked stripes across her leggings, like she'd sat on a wet slide at a theme park. Then she looked around, eyes-wide, suspicious, humiliated, her sunglasses dangling sideways like they'd given up. She took a slow breath, tried to collect dignity off the lawn like it was loose change, then stepped forward again. Woos! Woos! 2 more jets hit her shins and arm, sending her twirling like a startled flamingo. I covered my mouth to hold the laugh. Couldn't alert her yet. The trap was still revealing itself. Her jaw clenched. She stomped off the grass, dripping. Then she turned and marched to my driveway. Of course she did. She rang my doorbell like she wanted to break it. I opened with the innocent face only decades of marriage and professional meetings can teach you. "Morning, Cynthia. Everything okay?" She looked like she'd crawled out of a dishwasher mid-cycle. "Your sprinklers assaulted me." I blinked politely. "Oh, they're automatic. New system. Environmental scheduling." She narrowed her eyes. "Your lawn is public easement. You can't booby-trap it." I sipped coffee slowly, savoring every second. This isn't a booby trap. It's sustainable watering with motion efficiency. Helps conserve water. You support conservation, don't you? Her lip twitched. She hated when logic cornered her. "I'll report this to the HOA." I nodded. "Please do. Let them know I finally upgraded irrigation as recommended." She froze. "Right. HOA guidelines recommended improved water systems this year." Her weapon just backfired. She huffed, stormed off the driveway, and yelled loud enough for half the block to hear. This isn't over. She was right. It was stay. Because the sprinkler incident wasn't my real plan. That was merely Phase 1. I watched her stomp away, dripping dignity with every step. The neighborhood group chat pinged a minute later. "Neighbor, anyone else see Cynthia get baptized by Mark's lawn?" Another. "Can you set mine too? She cuts across my yard when she's jogging." Primina smiled. Revolution begins small. But Cynthia. She wasn't retreating. She was regrouping. An over ladder, I found a letter taped to my front door. Notice of non-compliance. Pathway grass height exceeds uniform ratio. Possible fine $150 per day. Grass height uniform ratio. My lawn. The most manicured shrine in this zip code. She was swinging wild, now a cornered queen trying to claw back her kingdom. I ran my hand over the letter, already imagining my response, because in warfare, real or suburban, the most dangerous enemy is the one who's losing control. And Cynthia was unraveling. If she thought sprinklers were petty, she hadn't seen anything yet. Phase 2 would make this morning look like a gentle drizzle. Because sometimes peace requires pressure. And sometimes it requires engineering brilliance with a hint of chaos. She tried HOA fines. Next, she'd try something bigger. Too bad I was already building a trap that didn't use water. It, oos, sound. The HOA violation notice sat on my kitchen counter like a slap made out of printer paper. Grass height exceeds uniform ratio. Uniform ratio? What did that even mean? Grass doesn't do algebra. I stared at it, sipping my coffee, trying not to laugh. She really filed a mowing complaint against the guy whose yard looks like a golf course. I've seen astronauts land spacecraft with less precision than I put into edging my lawn, but this wasn't about grass. It was about control, ego, retaliation, and if she wanted a war of subtle weapons, she chose the wrong retiree to sass. See, Cynthia hadn't considered one thing. A retired engineer with too much time and strong Wi-Fi becomes dangerous. She escalated. So did introducing Phase 2. My secret weapon wasn't chemical, mechanical, or hydraulic. It was acoustical engineering, a Kaha sound. While Cynthia weaponized HOA bylaws, like a medieval queen swinging scrolls instead of swords, I began designing suburban symphony warfare. The target wasn't her house. That would be harassment. No, the target was the path, her precious footpath of power where she strutted every morning like nature herself, appointed her chief lawn inspector. I installed 3 tiny directional speakers hidden in shrubs, barely visible unless you crawled on your elbows, looking for them like a Navy SEAL who got lost in suburbia. Each speaker triggered by motion, just like my sprinklers, but instead of water, they played sounds. Soft ones at first, harmless, bizarre, and guaranteed to disrupt a power-walking tyrant's soul. Bird chirps, but slightly wrong, like a parrot trying to imitate an owl, trying to imitate a pigeon, trying to pay taxes. The kind of sound that makes your brain go, something here ain't right. Day 1. Test run. At 7:24 a.m., right on schedule, Cynthia marched in her pastel tracksuit, determination puffing off her like hairspray fumes. Chirp, chirp, scree. She froze mid-step, eyebrows merging like confused caterpillars. Her dog's ears shot straight up like tiny satellite dishes. She looked around like she expected David Attenborough to crawl out of the bushes narrating her walk. Then she shook it off and continued walking. Pace initiated. Initiated. HOA Theater arrives. Later that afternoon, the HOA board held an urgent compliance meeting, which in Cynthia language meant committee meeting to destroy one man's peace. Except surprise, she didn't get to lead it. Mrs. Hudson, a gentle elderly lady who baked cookies shaped like cats, sat at the head. I took a slow seed. Cynthia glared like I stole her throne. We have received a complaint, Cynthia began, voice sugary but tense, regarding disruptive hydrological installations. Mrs. Hudson squinted. What's that mean, dear? He weaponized sprinklers, Cynthia snapped. Oh, Mrs. Hodson said. I thought you wanted everyone to upgrade their watering systems. What? No, they attacked me. Someone in the room stifled a laugh. Cynthia's nostrils flared and is sabotaging the neighborhood ecosystem. Yes, the suburban half horticulturist, half Bond antagonist. Mark, Mrs. Hudson said kindly, is your grass taller than regulation? No, Mom. But I'd be happy to bring a ruler next time. Snickers rippled across the room. Cynthia slammed her folder shut. This isn't funny. He's intentionally harassing me. Actually, I said, I installed sustainability features and local wildlife sounds. Those are not wildlife sounds, she snapped. Her voice cracked. She sounded rattled. Good. The HOA voted. No violation. Case dismissed. Cynthia stormed out so fast her dog had to gallop to keep up. But it wasn't done. The next morning, no sound, a faint whispering wind effect, like nature gossiping behind her back. Then soft clapping. One clap, pause. Another clap. It wasn't loud, just enough to make someone feel like the universe was judging their steps. And then her neighbor, Mr. Patel, waved from his porch. Morning, Cynthia. Nice weather for public performance. She nearly tripped. My neighborhood? It was waking up. People had opinions. Memes appeared in the group chat. One side, when the HOA thinks they run the block, but Mark unlocks engineer mode. Another, Cynthia versus sprinklers. Round 2, electric boot. And yet, I was just warming up, because Cynthia wasn't retreating. I saw her that afternoon pacing, phone in and whispering, angrily plotting. Little did she know I had phase 3 ready. No water. No sound. This time, it involved paper, numbers, and a little government agency she always feared more than me. Her next attack wouldn't be petty. It would be legal, but she had no idea. I'd already filed something first, and when the envelope arrived, she wouldn't be ready. People think modern battles are fought online. True suburban warfare is waged with forms, official stamps, and envelopes with terrifying government logos. And dojas. I brought out the stationary artillery. See, Cynthia's greatest fear wasn't me, or sprinklers, or some mysterious chirping shrub. It was bureaucracy she didn't control. She loved power, but only when she was the one wielding clipboards, not facing them. I had quietly filed a property boundary clarification request with the county weeks earlier, before any of this even started. Why? Because when she first stepped on my lawn, bragging about community easement privileges, my engineer brain whispered, "Check the plot maps." Turns out, the sidewalk line, not where she thought it was. Erlon extended 6 inches into public land. Translation: Cynthia's front flower bed, her prized tulips, technically violated county line regulation. But I didn't report it yet. Primera waited, like a squirrel storing pettiness for winter, and today, a white county envelope appeared on her doorstep. I watched from behind my newspaper like a spy in beige khakis. She opened Italiano. Her face dropped. She read. Then read again. Then froze, like someone just unplugged her CPU. She turned slowly toward my house. I twitch equals activated. She marched over like she was storming the gates of medieval revenge. Knock, 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 knock. I opened the door halfway. Yes, Cynthia. You, she hissed, shaking the paper. Did you do this? I glanced at the envelope sweetly. County seal. Looks official. What's that about? Her voice wobbled. They are reconsidering my planting boundary. You must be devastated, I said sincerely. Is. They want pictures, measurements. They're questioning my compliance. Oh dear, I said thoughtfully. That sounds very thorough. Her nostrils flared like a bull spotting red. You filed this. I filed a clarification request. Accuracy matters. That's manipulation. No, Cynthia. That's paperwork. She turned beet red, like someone blended anger and sunscreen into one shade. You're playing dirty. Primera shrugged. I'm playing legally. She stormed away. This time not in her power walk, more like a confused march, fueled by too much iced coffee and denial. HOA group chat, explosion. 5 minutes later, group chat notification spree. HOA. Board member, reminder, all county notices must be reported to HOA office. Translation. Cynthia is panicking already. Neighbor. I heard someone's tulip empire is under federal examination. Quint, there is nothing wrong with my compliance garden. So mene else. Compliance garden is wild phrase. Cynthia. Stop joking. This is serious. Old Mrs. Perez. Well, dear, you usually say. Rules are rules. Absolute silence from Cynthia. After that, Mrs. Perez delivered the finishing move without even knowing. Beautiful QHOA panic mode. So what did Cynthia do next? Did she consider mutual boundaries and peace? Of course, saying no, she went. Nuclear. That afternoon, 2 HOA board members showed up on my lawn like discount, FBI agents. Clipboard guy, measuring tape, lady. We've received numerous community reports about potential non-compliance here, clipboard man said dramatically. What specific concern? I asked. A height of mailbox post. He sounded embarrassed reading it. Mailbox post. My mailbox looked like it belonged in a gardening magazine. Tape measure lady measured, they whispered. Finally, clipboard guy cleared his throat. You're perfectly within regulation. Oh, what a shock, I said dryly. They left awkwardly. And from her window, Cynthia watched, like a villain caught halfway through monologuing. Her kingdom was crumbling, her power slipping. Neighbors weren't siding with her anymore. They were laughing, screenshotting, memeing. But she wasn't finished. At sunset, I saw her pacing her yard like a general planning a counterattack. She pulled out her phone, then hesitated. Deep breath, trembling finger. And she dialed the neighborhood security patrol hotline. Not police, not HOA, suburban malcop energy, but with golf carts. The ultimate, desperate move. They rolled up 15 minutes later. 2 teens in reflective vests who looked like they were paid in pizza coupons. She pointed at my house dramatically. They nodded politely, then shrugged and drove away. I nearly cried laughing. Tomorrow, she'd go harder. She couldn't lose. Not publicly. And little did she know, Phase 4 was waiting. Not sound. Not sprinklers. Not paperwork. This one was psychological. Subtle. Irritating. Beautiful. Beautiful. Because if she wanted to play community standards, I'd give her standards. Beat those in. She pushed lawn rules, sound rules, and county rules, so I attacked the one thing she valued most. Power doesn't disappear. And after Cynthia's HOA crown cracked, she didn't crumble quietly. No, she did what every petty suburban sovereign does when they're losing control. She clutched her pearls, lifted her chin, and launched a reputation counterattack campaign. It was like watching a reality TV villain speedrun desperation. The whisper parade begins. It started innocently, or as innocently as sabotage ever does. Neighbors would walk by, slower than usual. Double glances, curious eyes. Some smiling too carefully, like they didn't want to accidentally step on a landmine of drama. Then I overheard it. Mrs. Thompson, walking her poodle, murmuring to Mr. Patel. Apparently he installs spy sprinklers. Spy sprinklers, in my defense, accurate, but still. Then, at the mailbox, someone whispered, he filed federal complaints. Federal. Primera chuckled. County paperwork is apparently the FBI in HOA Brainland. And then, the best one. He works with wildlife agencies to control lawn intruders. Wildlife agencies, over sprinklers and speakers. Beautiful. Beautiful. Cynthia's campaign was failing and succeeding at the same time. Failing to make me look bad. Succeeding in making her look deranged, because instead of turning people against me, she turned me into a legend. Primera became Mark the Lawn Avenger. Even the teenagers on the block, previously uninterested in anything that didn't involve energy drinks or gaming, started saluting me when they biked past. One kid rolled by shouting, "Bro activated Call of Duty." Homeowner ops. I almost teared up. So pro community shift. Then something changed. Neighbors started coming to me. Hey Mark, just curious. Translation, permission to gossip requested. What sprinkler system do you use? Primera told Tem. They nodded thoughtfully. Next day, someone installed cameras, then motion sensors. Then a smart irrigation system 2 houses down. A quiet revolution. For years, people tolerated Cynthia because she was exhausting to fight. Now, she unintentionally created a resistance movement. I didn't have to ruin her reputation. She karate shopped it herself. The anonymous flyer? But Cynthia wasn't going down without swinging her clipboard like Thor's hammer. So she escalated. The next morning, every door had a printed flyer. Bullet points, bold font, dramatic formatting, neighborhood alert. Certain residents are engaging in hostile property behavior, traps, surveillance, tech, federal involvement, targeted attacks. Please remain vigilant. She didn't name me, but subtlety left the chat long ago. Her flyer ended with, "We must protect the peace and unity of Willow Bend." From a PR standpoint, adorable. From a reality standpoint, chef's kiss of denial. People started texting me photos of the flyer captioned, "LOL. She's lost it. We live in a sitcom. Should we start selling tickets?" Someone even made a meme. A sprinkler with sunglasses and text. "We don't start fights, we start irrigation." Comedy gold. The HOA board cracks. That evening, I saw something extraordinary. 3 HOA board members standing in front of her yard, whispering, glancing at her door, looking concerned. One of them knocked. Softly, Cynthia answered, still in her workout visor, looking like she hadn't slept since the Nixon administration. They talked. Se gestured. They shook heads. Hands raised. Voices low, but tense. Then, the moment, the board president held up a paper. Siga sped. Grabbed Italiano. Tried to argue. They shook heads again. Paper taken back. Door slammed. Hearth. Oa. Cop. Oa. Cop. A nearly microwaved popcorn. Cynthia was losing not only her power, but her audience. The boiling point. Late that night, motion camera pinged Cynthia, standing in the street. Arms crossed, staring at my house like it insulted her ancestry. The dog sat beside her. Even the dog looked tired. She didn't yell, didn't stomp, just stared, wounded ego simmering into something darker. Desperation. A storm wasn't coming. It was because the next day, she wouldn't bring sprinklers, or bylaws, or flyers. She would bring police. And she thought she'd finally win. She had no idea. I'd already invited them. She called the law to take me down. But when they showed up, they weren't here to question me. Were, tu. The endgame had arrived. Cynthia Whitaker believed in 3 things. HOA power is sacred. Clipboards were invented by God. Police exist to enforce her emotional comfort. So when her empire collapsed, sprinklers baptized her, county notices humbled her, neighbors memmed her, HOA board revolted. She only had one nuclear button left. Call the authorities. And of course, she did it dramatically. I saw it happen from my living room. She stood at the curb, pacing with her phone pressed to her ear like she was reporting an international incident, not a retired engineer who enjoyed long caratu. Much her voice carried across the street. "Yes, officer, he's destabilizing community living standards and weaponizing landscaping technology." Weaponizing landscaping technology. I had to mute the baby monitor just to laugh properly. 15 minutes later, a police cruiser rolled in. Lights on. Sirens off. Serious arrival. Sitcom context. Neighbors peeked through blinds like prairie dogs popping up from burrows. Cynthia marched toward the officer like she was leading a parade in her honor. "There are," she hissed, fingers stabbing the air, toward my home like she was summoning lightning. Officer Ramirez stepped out calm, steady, the posture of someone who has seen things far stranger than HOA drama. I met him on my driveway, hands politely visible, coffee mug still warm. "Morning, officer." "Coffee. It's Guatemalan medium roast." He smirked. "Already had 3. But appreciate it." Cynthia gasped. Hospital-level gasp. "You're fraternizing with the perpetrator." He raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, this isn't a hostage negotiation." I couldn't help it. I choked on my coffee. "Officer," she continued, voice trembling in righteous fury, He installed illegal devices. Sprayers, sound traps, surveillance for harassment. Officer Ramirez scratched his chin. Yumion, sprinklers, and bird sounds. This is not a joke, Seisfriekt. He weaponized nature. He turned to me. Deadpan. Did you weaponize nature, sir? Only against invasive species, I replied. A teenager down the road yelled HE's talking about her. The officer fought a smile. Then he pulled a folder from his patrol car. Ma'am, we also received a report. Her confidence flickered. From Woe, he tapped the file. We can't disclose complainant names. But we have footage. Footage. Yay, my sweet Rosebush surveillance squad. He opened his laptop in his car, and props to him didn't even crack a smile as our soaked theater performance replayed. Cynthia strutting onto my lawn, sprinklers baptizing her like a garden hose exorcism, her flailing, slipping, and screaming, "I will sue the earth." The sound clip echoed faintly. Neighbors covered their mouths. One dad snorted so hard he dropped his leaf blower. Officer Ramirez turned slowly. Ma'am, what I see is you repeatedly trespassing on private property and attempting to remove posted signage. Her jaw unhinged like a confused snake. That lawn is common space. He pulled up county zoning overlay. Zoom, top, highlight, red line, right across her flower bed. Actually, ma'am, part of your yard is public. His, completely private. I have never seen a human stop blinking mid-sentence. Until that moment, if Adconta this is a conspiracy. He held out a paper, no tuck notice. Effective immediately. You may not enter his property line or attempt to intervene in his usage of legal home systems. Violation results in citation. Her voice shrank. But I am the HOA, no ma'am, he replied. You were the HOA. The board filed a suspension last night. Her knees almost buckled. And ma'am, he added quietly, a wellness check was requested by multiple neighbors. Maybe take a break. Rest. Her dog whined. Even the dog knew the kingdom had fallen. Cynthia stumbled backwards, eyes glossy, dignity leaking like air from a party balloon hit by a thumbtack. Now, this neighborhood needs me. Officer tipped his hat. Seems like they're doing just fine. She retreated to her house like a dethroned monarch banished to exile. The street stayed silent. Then Mrs. Thompson clapped slowly. Then more clapping. Garage doors opened. Neighbors came out. Someone shouted, "Long live the Lawn Avenger!" It was ridiculous. Absurd. Perfect. I raised my mug. Sprinkler system runs again at 7:20. Tomorrow, if anyone wants a show. Laughter rolled down the block like victory confetti. Behind closed blinds, Cynthia's kingdom crumbled. Peace returned. Grass grew undisturbed, and for the first time since she stepped onto my lawn, I actually enjoyed my coffee without plotting irrigation-based vengeance. Well, mostly, a man should always stay prepared. Just in case the next tyrant decides the sidewalk is optional, because in suburbia, peace is temporary, and somewhere, right now, another HOA villain is lacing up their jogging shoes, and I've got sprinklers to calibrate.